Hey guys, welcome back to the Jay's Flicks podcast. I am your host, Jay Gay, and today we're going to be talking about Wizards of Waverly Place and why it needs a reboot. We are begging Disney to give us a reboot of this show or some other medium platform to take it over, but more likely than not, it will be Disney. But before we get into that, make sure you guys continue to help us out here on the channel, subscribe, and check out our audio versions on Spotify and wherever you get your favorite podcasts. That's where we are. And like I said, today we're going to get into that, talk about Wizards of Waverly Place. That is a tongue twister, kind of. And I'm going to talk about why I think it needs a reboot, why we need to bring it back, and why it was such a fan favorite for us kids, us 2000s kids on the Disney Channel back, when Disney Channel was actually good and it wasn't just a bunch of fluff and woke stuff on there. But yeah, we're gonna get into that. So for those of you that don't already know, I'm really talking to my audience that was born from 2009, 2010 up. If you haven't watched Wizards of Waverly Place, then you are missing out on it. So this show takes place in New York City and it follows a family of wizards, hence the name. So of course your cast is headlined by Selena Gomez, David Henry, who both play Alex and Justin Russo. J.T. Austin plays Max Russo, and then the parents are played by David DeLuz, Jerry Russo, and Maria Canales Barrera plays Teresa Russo. So these are a family of wizards, the Russo family. And they're just, the show follows them navigating their teen life while also, navigating their life as wizards, and getting their power stronger and preparing for the family wizard competition, and just dealing with the ups and downs of learning their abilities and mastering spells and, making the right decisions. This show, it was really fun, in the time it ran from 2000, I will say 2009 to about 2012. I want to say is how long it ran. On Disney, ran for 4 seasons. Was pretty good, and that's usually how most sitcoms at that time. How long they usually ran was about for 4 seasons, and it did a great job. It didn't just it wasn't just directed for kids. It wasn't really targeted just for children. You could tell that. It was one of those family shows, kind of similarly to Good Luck Charlie a little bit. It wasn't just targeted for children, but more so a family for audiences of all ages. And you could tell that. The comedy. It's cheesy, right? It's going to be it's a Disney sitcom. It's going to have cheesy comedy. It's going to make you cringe. But there were some funny moments here and throughout the show, and the characters. Like I said, actors did a great job. Of course, Selena Gomez, amazing job as Alex Russo. David Henry, he was awesome on it. They to me were the glue of the show. David and Selena, they're the main characters, the brother and sister, the oldest Russo kids. Preparing to be the family wizard. Both of them preparing to be the family wizard. Only one can win it. And the show follows Justin and Alex's relationship as it progresses as they get older. Alex, she starts to get involved in a lot more things. She starts to mature somewhat. Her character still is a little childish. Still irresponsible, but she does mature in some certain aspects. She saved the world from the Angels of Darkness in season 4. She did that at the so many other things that she also did. They saved her and Max and Justin all saved the world from an asteroid as well. So there were certain things throughout the show, that show Alex's progression as a character. Be her best friend Harper as well. You can mention Jennifer Stone. She was great in that role. Zeke as well. So and of course, like I said, being set in New York at the Waverly substation, which was a family-owned business by the Russos. Wizards of Waverly Place. It was a good show to me. I wanted to get a reboot because of the way things ended. Funny enough, they ended. So the last episode of season 4 was they did their wizard competition, right? The family wizard competition. Justin ended up Alex won. First off, Justin won, but he said that Alex was supposed to win because she came back and helped him because he was stuck. So Alex ended up getting the full wizardry. She ended up winning the competition, keeping her powers. Max lost his and was granted ownership of the substation by Jerry. And Justin, however, despite losing the wizardry competition, was promoted to being headmaster of WizTech, which was the school for all the young wizards to learn how to use their powers, how to become full wizards. And he was promoted to be the headmaster after Professor Crumbs, he retired, who was the original headmaster of WizTech. And so he granted Justin that job. He said, "Hey, I want you to take over WizTech, and you can keep your powers, and you will, oversee the whole school and the whole university." And so that's where we ended off. And well, that's where we ended off on the show. And then we got a special because Selena Gomez, she actually said this herself. She said that, hey, she said that she wanted to do something else, right? She wanted to come back for another special episode of the show. So they did The Wizard's Return, Alex versus Alex. And in that episode, in that hour-long special on Disney Channel, they had the Russo family, of course. They were going on vacation to Italy to see Jerry's family. And Alex, of course, her irresponsibility is brought back up again in this episode, and she's doing stuff like using her magic to have a drive-in theater in their living room, and just using magic for selfish reasons. And Jerry and Teresa are mad at her because they're like, hey, you're the family wizard now. You shouldn't be making these type of dumb, irresponsible decisions now that you're a full wizard and you're mature. You've had your powers for years now, and you should be past all this childish stuff. And upset at this, she decides to cast a spell to get rid of all of her bad parts. And it goes into a mirror, and the mirror with the Dark Alex, as I will call her, breaks, and Dark Alex escapes, and she goes into Italy. And basically, her and Gorog, if you guys remember Gorog, who was the head of the Angels of Darkness, his nephew actually comes into the picture, pretending to be friend of the family. He goes to WizTech. He's a wizard, but actually he was evil and blah 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 blah. And he teams up with Dark Alex, and they're trying to destroy all of the mortals, and their plan failed because Alex saved the world once again. Justin was absent in this episode because, like I said, he was at WizTech, but also David Henry was committed to some other things during the time, so he wasn't in this special. But Max was, so Max, Alex, Mason, Alex's boyfriend, who was the on and off, and the whole toxic relationship there that they had, which is a whole other video on itself. As a matter of fact, there's videos on YouTube about specifically how toxic their relationship was. So if you guys are interested in that stuff, check it out. But I think this show deserves a reboot because, it just was too popular. I mean, it was so popular. Pretty much everybody in the demographic that watched it, they loved the show. I know I do, and a lot of friends and family of mine love it as well. People I grew up with. I mean, it was one of those shows on Disney Channel that stuck with you, and you grew up with it, and it was fun to watch. You can put up there with like Jesse and Good Luck Charlie, those type of shows, that kind of carried Disney Channel during the time. Even The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody and The Sweet Life on Deck as well. But Wizards definitely was one of those top shows at the time. And they need to bring it back, and here's my idea for a reboot. Okay, so my idea is, so everybody's grown up. Justin is married. He's got kids. Max still, he's running the substation. No kids yet. No wife yet. Maybe a girlfriend or whatever. But anyway, he's running the substation, and Alex is off doing her thing, whatever. And an evil threat comes out of nowhere, and it forces them to all come back together, band together, and look for one last fight as the Russo siblings, training their kids and the students at WizTech to help them in their battle, because this is an overarching bad guy villain that I don't know. I mean, he's some big, like, kind of like a villain similar to a Thanos type of structure. Like he's the overarching villain of the show, not just a one episode kill him off type of villain. No, like he needs to loom over the whole reboot show, right? So over the course of how many episodes or however many seasons there are in the reboot, like have this villain be the overarching grand bad guy over it, and have throughout the show have the characters, teach their kids and figure out a way to band back together and beat them. And I think you can do that. I think you can do that. It'll be fun to see the cast back in action. Selena Gomez already said that she would love to come back and do a Wizards reboot. The whole cast, David Henry, JT Austin, everybody said pretty much everybody's on the same page of wanting to come back and do a reboot. So Disney, make it happen. I need a Wizards of Waverly Place reboot. We all do. It's been a long time, and that show was awesome. It was fun to watch. They even did a original movie as well, which was pretty good, surprisingly, because Disney Channel original movies tend to be pretty bad. But anyway, that being said, I think it definitely deserves a reboot. Along with many other shows, you can even say that deserve to be brought back. But those will be for other videos. But for this one, I say, yeah, bring back Wizards of Waverly Place, please. I would love to see it come back, and I know a lot of the fans would as well. And hey, it might get Disney some money because they've been kind of slacking a little bit, lately. They're struggling economically, but that's a whole other podcast about that. So, but yeah, we'll wrap it up here for the show today, guys. Like I said, I just want to touch on that and why I think Wizards of Waverly Place deserves a reboot. And why we need to bring it back, and everybody's on board. So let's just make it happen, man. Let's make it happen. Even if it's like one season, 10 episodes. Like I just want the show to come back. I mean, the nostalgia will be real. I mean, seeing the characters, seeing the sets back, or maybe new sets, but have it still take place in New York, on Waverly Street, Waverly Place. And, it would be awesome. So that pretty much wraps up for today's show, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Do you think that Wizards of Waverly Place needs a reboot? Should they bring it back? What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and we will see you next time on Jay's Flicks, everybody. Thank you.